You can join us live for our next BookFunnel webinar. Check out the link in the description for more details. We hope to see you there.
So formatting your book, your ebook for BookFunnel. And what we're going to cover today is why ebook formatting matters, supported file types, reflowable versus fixed layout, formatting tools, and suggested best practices. And then after that, we will do a Q&A, and probably during the Q&A, I will demo, I'll share my desktop and then just go through some of the softwares I have access to show you a bit about how those EPUBs can look. All right, so quick note. This webinar focuses on ebook formatting best practices for side loading and delivery through BookFunnel. And if you're not quite familiar with what the term side loading means, it just means when you are putting a piece of content or software onto a third-party app or software that it didn't originate from. So you're taking a book from BookFunnel or anywhere else, and you're putting it on your Kindle app or your Nook app, but you didn't buy it from Barnes & Noble, you didn't buy it from Amazon. So that's basically what side loading means. So other platforms like Amazon, KDP, Nook, anywhere where you will upload your EPUB for distribution, they will have their own requirements. But in general, a properly formatted EPUB is universal, but just to keep in mind, we're discussing specifically the requirements for ebook formatting with BookFunnel. So why ebook formatting matters? There we go. I'm figuring out the mouse clicks. Now, one, it delivers a professional first impression. A clean, polished ebook helps establish trust with your readers from page one, which is especially important because there's still a little bit of skepticism among some readers when it comes to indie authors. Ensures compatibility across all devices. Proper formatting ensures that your book will display correctly on Kindle, Apple Books, Kobo, whatever app or device that your reader happens to be using. And there are a plethora of them, all kinds of different combinations. So you want to make sure that your ebook formatting is as standardized and industry professional as possible. It will improve the reader experience because of those consistent styles, clean navigation, table of contents is really super important. Readable layouts, which prevent readers from getting frustrated, and they do get frustrated. It reduces reader complaints and refunds. So formatting issues can lead to bad reviews. I'm sure you've all seen that on Amazon, where the review will talk about everything except the story itself, and sometimes it'll be about formatting. Sometimes it'll even be about shipping. It's like, but this is an ebook. But readers will do that. So one of the things you can do to prevent potential bad reviews or support requests that come to you or to BookFunnel, or returns if you're selling direct, because many of us are dabbling into direct selling, is to make sure that your EPUB is formatted correctly. And then, of course, it boosts your author credibility, which goes along with delivering a professional first impression. It signals you're a serious, high-quality author. And there are things you can do to make your front matter and your back matter look like it's trad-pubbed, and we might get into that a little bit here. Now, supported file types. BookFunnel supports the following file types for upload: EPUB, and this is the universal standard required for side loading and distribution. And then we also support Kindle EPUB, which is the same base format, it's just optimized for Kindle. Now, you don't have to worry about uploading a Kindle EPUB if you do not have one. If you use Vellum, it will give you that format. But if you don't have that format, that's fine. When you upload your standard EPUB, we will create one. BookFunnel will create one for you, the Kindle EPUB version. So you don't have to worry about that. And then BookFunnel also accepts PDF, which is fixed layout, ideal for image-heavy or illustrated books. And this is not recommended for novels or ARCs. I have so much I could say about PDF use for ARC, but I'm not going to. Okay. I promised myself I would not. Now, not supported for upload is Mobi. Now, this is a format that was around back in the day, and Amazon no longer supports it, though there are some of the older devices that still require it. So that's why BookFunnel, when you upload your EPUB, will generate a Mobi for you, but you cannot upload one to the dashboard and you don't need to. So every once in a while, I'll get a question from an author asking about a Mobi, and I'll tell them, don't worry about it. I will generate it for you, and most readers, their devices and their apps are updated for just the pure EPUB anyway. And then AZW and KFX, those are Amazon formats. So if you've ever used Kindle Create, there's another software. It's actually on my laptop. I forget what it's called, but I will run my EPUB through it because it optimizes your page read count, your KNMPC. But those are Amazon formats, and they are just for uploading into the Amazon KDP dashboard, and you can't upload those anywhere else, definitely not on BookFunnel. And then DocX, XLSX, other formats. These are not ebook formats. They should be converted, not should be, they must be converted to EPUB or PDF first. So you cannot upload a doc to BookFunnel. Now, reflowable versus fixed layout. Reflowable text layout is just text that adapts to the size and the shape of the reader's screen, which is super important. It's best for fiction, so novels, novellas, serials, your chapters, anything you're distributing that is fiction. You want to have a reflowable EPUB. It's also best for nonfiction with mostly text. So memoirs, essays, business books, poetry books, anything like that. So nonfiction that's not text heavy, and then fiction. I'm sorry, nonfiction that's not image heavy, and then fiction is what you want a reflowable text layout for and reflowable EPUB for. And then as far as the reader experience goes, with the reflowable EPUB, readers can change the font size, the typeface, the spacing. So like in the BookFunnel app and then in the Kindle app, and I'm not quite as familiar with the Kobo or Nook apps, though I do occasionally go in there because I have books on both of those. But the readers will be able to change what font they want, the size, the line spacing, all of that. And they like to do that, which is one of the reasons why I recommend uploading an EPUB for your ARCs and not a PDF, because the readers are expecting to be able to customize their reader experience. And you want them to be able to do that. Accessible on any device. So with a reflowable EPUB, because it can be adapted to the size and shape of the reader's screen, they can access it on their Kindle, iPad, phone, anything like that. And again, it's not recommended for image-heavy content. Is it working? It's working. A fixed layout. This page layout is locked. It means the images and text do not reflow or adjust to screen size. This can be an EPUB or PDF. There are very few scenarios in which you want a fixed EPUB. I have seen them. Sometimes authors will distribute a fixed layout EPUB for like children's books and image heavy nonfiction if they have an EPUB formatted for that. And then sometimes I'm an advocate of testing. So when you're exporting or when you have your formatter do your EPUB and you have image heavy, a lot of images, and I'm not talking about like chapter headings and chapter breaks, but like it's nonfiction or it's a children's book or something like that, and you have like images, charts, that sort of thing. You may want to export a reflowable one and then have them, do a fixed layout one. And so you can load both versions up and then kind of see what it's going to look like, because every book with text and images is going to be different. And then, of course, fixed layout can be PDF, and it usually is PDF. And these are best for, again, children's picture books, cookbooks, art books, graphic novels, magazines, textbooks. The reader experience with a fixed layout means that the font and text size cannot be changed. So like if you've ever gotten an ARC from a trad published author, my favorite trad pub author in the world sends her ARCs with PDF, and it's just gotta have to take it. Just have to take it. I'd prefer an EPUB, but she sends it with PDF. So if you've ever tried to read a PDF on like your Kindle app, and like my screen is like 6.5 inches, it's doable, but not very fun. And then of course with fixed layout, this requires zooming, scrolling on smaller devices. So you're trying to switch it back and forth, zoom it in, zoom it out to try to get the reading experience you want, which is why, again, with fiction, you just give them a reflowable EPUB, please. And then, of course, this can diminish the experience on phones and older e-readers for the same reasons I mentioned. Not recommended for text-heavy content. It's just not necessary. Fixed layout is not necessary for text-heavy content. So formatting tools. Vellum is always going to be reflowable. So with Vellum, and we'll get into this in the demo a bit, but I happen to see the question. Vellum will allow you to do a PDF, a print layout, and then it will give you a reflowable EPUB. So recommended ebook formatting tools, and these are not necessarily in the order of anyone's preference, but Vellum is a highly polished formatting tool, and it creates absolutely beautiful EPUBs and print books. It's minimal effort. It's push a button select your settings, and go. I even love to do my final edit pass in Vellum because the interface is just lovely. But that's been around for years now. I got in on the beta, so it's been about 9, 10 years, I think, or maybe it's been about 7 or 8. I think it came out around the same time BookFunnel did. And then you have Atticus. Oh, the one thing about Vellum is it is Mac only right now. I remember because when I first started wanting to use it, I was still on an HP laptop, really one of those really thick ones that are like 4 inches, in depth. I'm exaggerating, but back in the day. And I would have to use Mac and Cloud. And it was so frustrating using the Mac and Cloud because my old HP was just a clunker and my internet wasn't the best. That's what prompted me to go ahead and get my first MacBook off eBay. I think it was like $60. It was the oldest, clunkiest MacBook I could get off eBay for my budget. But y'all who have Macs, they last forever. And then I got it and it ran the Vellum just fine, and I haven't looked back since. So, but with Atticus, this is a cross-platform alternative to Vellum. So you can use it with your Mac, you can use it with a PC. And it's online based. So it's in a tab on your internet browser, and this combines writing and formatting in one sleek interface. They're Atticus's EPUBs. They are lovely, lovely as well. I don't have quite as much personal experience with them, but I see them quite a bit when they come through support or, as a reader. And they give you a lot of options for like your header images and your styling and different things like that. And I think with Atticus, same way you can with Vellum. With Vellum, you can upload custom headers and scene breaks, and you can do the same thing with Atticus, I'm pretty sure. And then the Readsy Book Editor, this is a beginner-friendly browser-based tool as well that outputs clean EPUB files at no cost. And then we have Draft to Digital's conversion tool, which is the one we will recommend most often at BookFunnel if you come asking us about formatting and you can't hire a formatter or you don't have the budget yet for the software. We will always recommend the Draft to Digital conversion tool. It's my go-to when, for whatever reason, I'm not using Vellum. Very simple interface, and I will show you that a minute in the demo. And then it does not require that you distribute through Draft to Digital. So some authors are like, I can't use the Draft to Digital conversion tool to make my EPUB because I'm not distributing through them. They don't require you to do that. You can sign up, generate your EPUB, grab it, and go. And then Scrivener. This is a writing and organizational tool, one of the OGs, with a flexible, though slightly complex compile feature for EPUB export. I didn't really learn how to use the compile feature until about a year or two ago for reasons, because I didn't really need to use it for reasons. But once you figure it out, it's fine. But at first, just the way the interface is, it might take you a little bit of understanding a little bit of trial and error to understand how that software thinks, for lack of a better term, but that's definitely an option too. And then tools to avoid overuse with caution. My sweet summer children, Google Docs, Google Docs. Just because they give you the button doesn't mean you should push the button. Do not use a Google Doc EPUB. Okay, so they frequently fail side loading tests and cause issues for readers. The number one issue I see with EPUBs when authors and readers come to support, I go and look at metadata and it's Google loving docs. So don't do Google Docs. Yeah, you can use Vellum on a PC with Mac and Cloud, but I don't know if there's a different way to use it now, because back in the day you had to use Mac and Cloud. So if that's updated and there's another like side hack, I'd love to hear about that. And then Microsoft Word raw exports, no, that's a no too. Microsoft Word is not designed for exporting EPUBs for this purpose, for uploading to BookFunnel and really to any other platform. Don't do it. Microsoft Word documents can contain hidden formatting issues that, unless they're properly cleaned or processed by your other tools, will create an issue. Most often when authors come to us with issues with their EPUBs that are processed through other tools, it is because their Microsoft Word document was not properly formatted. Usually it's a table of contents. So just don't do it, y'all. Don't do it. And then I'm going to say this wrong. I want to say Calibre. I know it's not Calibre, so y'all don't come for me. I know it's not Calibre. Caliber. So a lot of authors will use this for formatting. Now, it's excellent for conversion, but not recommended for initial formatting due to the lack of design polish and the complexity for non-tech users. So use with caution. Again, the Google Docs and the Microsoft Word, that is a hard no, don't do it. Caliber, saying that right. Caliber, okay, use with caution. Yes, Kevin, it is. It's okay. It is okay to use Caliber for Word files and convert to EPUB. It can be finicky though. So if you do that process and then you come to me or Jack or Kelly, I'm on the author support team and there's an issue with the formatting, the first thing we're going to tell you is go use Draft to Digital. And again, if there is an issue with your EPUB that you process through Caliber, it's probably going to be with the Microsoft Word doc, especially the table of contents. That's what we see most often. And then Adobe InDesign. This is, now Jack says use this with caution. Jack's nicer than I am. If it was just me, Emma talking, Emma would tell you no, don't do it. Okay. Adobe InDesign is beautiful. It's for professionals only. Okay. And by professional, I mean somebody who's been thoroughly and professionally trained, not somebody you found off Fiverr who took a Udemy course. I don't know if Jack's going to keep this in the live version, but a Udemy course in Adobe InDesign is not sufficient. Okay. So don't mess with Adobe InDesign unless you have a professional formatter helping you. Steep learning curve is beautiful for print or fixed layout EPUBs, and there are use cases for fixed layout EPUBs. It's absolutely overkill for your standard reflowable EPUB. It's like killing an ant with a hammer. You don't need Adobe InDesign for your standard reflowable EPUB, even if you want a really pretty EPUB. Hey, Callie, not sure what you say LOL about, but I hope it's not something that gets me in trouble. Okay, suggested best practices. So use paragraph and heading styles, not manual formatting. And that's when in Word, like when you're choosing your chapter headings in Word, instead of you using like the spaces and the tabs and then the bold, the Command B to bold, you're using the actual options they give you at the top to create a heading. So you want to make sure you're always using styles and not manual formatting. Don't use tabs or multiple spaces for indents. Embed only standard fonts unless creating a fixed layout. Include essential metadata, title, author, all of that stuff. Build a clean table of contents. A linked table of contents is a must. If you come to us saying your table of contents isn't working, the first thing we're going to do is be like, did you check your Word doc, boo? Okay, so it's usually that. Test your files using BookFunnel to sideload to various apps and devices. Always test the reader experience before you go live first. You want to know what they're going through from their perspective, because that way, if there are any problems, you can catch them before it goes out to your readers. And you just want to know what the entire experience is like from their end anyway. So even if you don't want to claim your own book from your landing page, if you're in a group promo or you need a group promo, we can give you a link and then you can go and browse for books and go through the whole experience yourself. But you definitely want to test your own files before you take them live. And I will always just real quick, take a look at them in the BookFunnel app and then transfer it over to my Kindle app and a couple other apps. Just take a quick, just scan through, tab through real quick to make sure everything's good. But I use Vellum, so I mean, but just for general purposes, I still do that. Now we are in our question. Kelly, I'm gonna figure out how I can unmute you because I'm actually gonna do questions while we are demoing.
I can unmute.
Oh, okay, awesome. That means I did something wrong.
Oh, maybe.
Okay, let me see if I can switch the share to desktop.
Are you you're demoing one of your formatting products?
Yeah, I'm just gonna do the desktop. I swear I rehearsed this behind the
That's
scenes,
okay.
y'all, but I'd never get it right.
That's okay. Let me just
There we go.
I can answer
see
some
what y'all
questions while you get set up. How's that? Okay, so Joe is asking, I can't remember who now, but some course walked me through Caliber step by step and I wrote it all down. It seems to work okay. My experience with Caliber has been pretty good. It's been a little mixed when it comes to, I think one of the biggest mistakes I've seen is that an author will take their book that's in a PDF and then try to run it through Calibre, then that creates a big old mess. So if it's a Word doc, you might be just fine and it would probably work just fine. If you do have any problems, sometimes just regenerating it is all it needs. You don't mean to use Microsoft to convert EPUBs, correct? If it's okay to format the doc before. Yeah, so like getting the book ready for formatting, that's what I do is I use a docx, and then you could put that into Vellum or to Atticus or one of the others. I would not use Google Docs, which Emma already said. I would not use Word. Word will also produce an EPUB. No. And then Kindle Create. I don't know if you mentioned that one. Kindle Create is meant for Kindles. They always do something funky with the size. So just be really careful with that one too.
I think we'll go to draft to digital first and show you all what that looks like real quick. And okay, whatever. I probably should have done this ahead of time because now I'm going to have to go through all of my stuff. Okay.
I like how you have a file called stuff too.
Be trying to be a little discreet, but whatever. Okay. Okay. We're just going to call it Scales of Sapphire Gold. Emma Ali, not appropriate in, just, well, whatever. Okay.
You do have to set up the metadata here, even though it kind of seems a little like, well, I don't know how much of this is actually going to matter because you're not publishing on draft to digital, but they do put that metadata can be found in your book as well in the code. So you do want to fill all that stuff out, even if it's not staying on draft to digital.
Yeah,
Okay.
I am skipping a lot of that for the sake of time, but yeah, actually do that stuff.
While you're working on that, I've used a software package called Judo to compile an EPUB, but it's complicated. I've not actually used Judo before. I think, Emma, you've used it to test something that needed to be tested. I don't think I have ever used that one.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's come through a few times. It's not one of the ones that we are like, no. Yeah, I think it probably produces pretty good EPUBs. So yeah, Joe, for you only use Word. I would use it to, so I've done it where I've just created a Google Doc that I share with like alphas or editors or whoever. And then when it's done, it goes into Vellum. So I use Vellum as well. But that docx file can go right into most of all of these. In fact, that's what we suggest. So if you have it in a PDF, maybe don't. No PDFs.
Maybe don't.
It can sometimes spit out an EPUB, and yeah, so starting with the docx is the best.
This is the page on Draft to Digital where if you don't already have your title page and your copyright page, your dedication and all of these things embedded in your EPUB, in your document, and usually I do, you can select all of these and then Draft to Digital will include that for you. This works only if you already have books uploaded to your dashboard and things like that. But if you already have like an about the author page profile, you can do that too. And then you just, let me go back because this is the part where authors will get a little bit tripped up on. Oh, I couldn't go back. No, let's go back to view ebook. Okay, so the ebook ISBN, authors will be like, they're going to make me publish on Draft to Digital. No, they're just giving you a free Draft to Digital ISBN to identify it in their system. It's not forcing you to publish on their system. So you can just save and continue, or if you already have one, you can input it. Save, continue, and then again, you can use these options if you want to, but you don't have to. And then save and continue, finalizing. Okay. And then they have all these different styles that you can choose from. We'll just pick this. You know what? I don't think they have these the last time I was on here.
I was just saying, I haven't seen that either.
Yeah, they've got more options. Okay, so there are more options than I recall. That shows you how long I've actually been there, but save and continue. So are they going to want you to download it there? Yeah, the interface has changed a bit since the last time I was on. This might be, okay, yeah, that is the place where you go ahead and you download it. Okay. All right, so you would just download it from here. Again, don't worry about the Mobi. We'll do that for you, although I guess you could if you wanted to. But you can download PDF, but download your EPUB, and it will give you proof. And let's just upload that to my BookFunnel account. Why y'all doing that? Okay. So add new. I see there's a setting I did not turn off on here. So we'll just pick whatever.
Okay, so while you're kind of moving through adding that, Elle is asking, how do you get rid of hidden HTML code? I'm not sure. Is that showing up in your book? Can you maybe
Or in the
clarify
Word doc?
in the Word? Yeah, maybe in the Word doc. I'm not sure about that one. Ginger, if you want to clarify us, that'd be cool. Ginger's asking or says, I'm using Atticus. It's fantastic, intuitively easy, lots of formatting templates to choose from, and they're customizable. Yeah, we've had a lot of really good luck with Atticus as well. Vellum and Atticus are yeah, they're right up there on the top. Atticus,
This is what the drafted digital looks like. Again, it creates your table of contents. And yeah, that's how it will show up. I can't demo it how it will look in the phone or anything but this is how it will look in the browser. So that is a draft digital EPUB. Any questions about drafted digital, or do I have to find a person with an iPhone? Are there emulators or something where I could see my book on the? I haven't. Have you heard of any emulators, Kelly? Like, that's an interesting idea. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think Mac and Cloud is just for Mac. Maybe if you have a friend or family member, or I mean, you can always email us and be like, "Can you take a look at my EPUB, please?" Because we all have iPhones. We're all iPhone people. So just push come to shove, just be like, "Hey, check my EPUB out real quick, and we'll do it." It's no biggie. Okay, so no drafted digital questions.
Seeing any drafted digital questions?
I already uploaded. This is Google Docs, and I already uploaded it into Google Docs. Now, the caveat here, because the EPUB it produced has some issues, but it's actually not horrible. The caveat is that my Word doc is flawlessly formatted. So remember we told y'all if there are any issues with your Word doc, they will show up in the EPUB. I have none, so that is greatly aiding the Google Doc experience. But this is what it would look like, and you'll see right away that there are no chapter breaks. Your font is a lot tinier, so you're seeing the chapters are not breaking the way they should. This is actually, though, a really good example of
Yeah,
Google
I was going to
Doc.
say that isn't what a Google Doc usually looks like for me.
I get you all into thinking that this means a no. It's just Emma's original document was exported from Vellum. I used the Vellum formatted Word
Yeah,
doc
so
to do this.
one of the things that I see with Google Docs and Kindle, well, Kindle Create has its own, but Google Docs will sometimes have like the page will be like a half page and like the text will be cut in half and the next page will be like smashed on top of it. That's the most common thing I see with Google, I think with Google Docs. With
It did happen with this one. When I put this in my BookFunnel app and then transferred it over, that did happen. So it looks fine in the browser, probably because of the screen size, but once I put it in the phone.
If you were to shrink your screen size, you'd probably see the problem. I bet you.
I wonder if I could. No, it's still gonna play like it's I, but it's not I, y'all. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, so just avoid that one. And then Kindle Create is the other one where every other paragraph, like every paragraph is different. So like it'll be a very tiny paragraph and then a very huge paragraph and then tiny paragraph and huge. And they alternate. Each paragraph alternates. I don't know why, but I can look it up. Somebody will be like, my formatting looks weird in your app. And I'm like, it's Kindle Create.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are intended for Amazon only. So that's why they don't look right when they go to anyone else. So
Nancy used Draft to Digital for her first 3 books and it works fine. Yeah, Draft to Digital is our go-to if you don't have budget for formatter and you don't have formatting software, then yeah, Draft to Digital, absolutely. Scrivener is the other. Oh my God, I did not show you all Vellum. What am I doing? This is Vellum, y'all. Okay, this is not the one I was going to show, but I was going to show Scales. There we go, Scales of Sapphire and Gold, because that's actually done. Okay, so this is Scales of Sapphire and Gold. It's a published book. It's live. And this is Vellum. So you can see it's basically just a situation where you can copy and paste your text into there, but you can import your file. Let me go back to see. This is why one of these days I need to have like a staging. I don't know why I'm so lazy. I need to have a staging system. Like my stuff's not all out there, but okay. So I imported the file. the Word file, and it generated everything for me. So it detected the chapters. Now, granted, I was importing a Word file that was exported from Vellum, so I'm sure they recognize their stuff, but it does the same thing with a regular Word doc that you hand created in Word Doc 2, it'll do the same thing. But very simple. So as long as that Word document is formatted properly and they can detect the chapter breaks and the scene breaks and everything, then they will pull that in automatically. And if they don't, sometimes I've pulled it in and there's a hit and miss here or there. It's like a 5-second fix. This is Vellum. And then as with Atticus and Draft to Digital, you can come and there are some selections for different styles, different fonts, things like that. You can customize how you want it to look. Kind of limited. I think Atticus has a lot more options, but I'm also of the opinion that it's better not to give people too many options. And then also, if you have Vellum, this is one way to kind of see what your EPUB might look like on different phones. It'll let you do that. Now, it won't show you if there's an issue with your EPUB once you sideload it, but if you're coming through Vellum anyway, there's not going to be an issue. I've never seen an issue with the Vellum EPUB. But this is Vellum, and then you just export it and upload it right to your dashboard. But that's Vellum, but Scrivener. If you already have Scrivener and you don't have a budget compile. You don't have a budget, but you already have Scrivener. You can press compile, and then you can go to EPUB. I've got the first part of my work in progress already uploaded in here. And then you can add your front matter. But yeah, come on, man. I don't know why it does that. Okay, so front matter. So if you already have front matter, you can upload that. Back matter. Somewhere. It's around here somewhere. Well, we'll just do this. Okay. And then you can compile assign section layouts. Now, this is the thing. For each of my chapters, I have it labeled as a section. I probably shouldn't do that. I should probably label it as a chapter. Whatever.
I have to admit, I am way intimidated by the Scrivener compiler.
If you want to use Scrivener, please go watch. There are lots of YouTube tutorials where people are experts at this. And then you could see I'm just kind of like, what is this thing?
Yeah.
A lot of us are like,
actually don't know that I've ever seen a person come through. So I bet that people who are using the Scrivener compiler to do an EPUB are doing fine with it, because I don't think I've ever seen one come through. So either they're not very common, or they're not a thing that is causing the problems. So yeah, what I do with the compiler is I compile it into a doc, like a docx. And then what that does is, because Scrivener, if you have to have all your headings correct, and it's such a learning curve in Scrivener. But if you have everything correct, when it transfers over all of those headings that we were talking about, because there's some questions about how to fix your table of contents and heading, how to get your headings to be correct. When I transfer over from Scrivener, a lot of times the doc comes with those in place. But essentially, and I'm just going to go back to that question, was basically like, how do I fix it so that the Word document that I then put into something else will have those headings in place? The Word doc will have what it needs to have the chapters be recognized.
You have to use words. So at the top of, do I have a Word doc? I do. Do I have one? Well, let me just open Scales of Sapphire and Gold. There we go.
And I think maybe while you're opening that up too, just to clarify, you can write your book in anything you are comfortable writing in. Scrivener, Google Docs, Microsoft Word. This is just for the transferring into transferring into actually being a book file. So that, just want to clarify, because sometimes they're like, well, I can't write my book and go. No, just write whatever you want that's comfortable. But these are programs that are designed to help format it so that it can be a really nice ebook.
Yeah, and see, mine are already formatted, so it's hard for me to show you what it looks like when it's not. Okay, there we go. I put it to normal. Normal is paragraph. Let me put it back to heading. Why is everything say Vellum? Oh, because I exported this from Vellum. It has been so long since I have had to.
Putting chapter 1 back.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It's the style. I'm wondering if I did myself a disservice by using a already formatted styles pane. Okay, so heading 1. There we
There.
go. Okay. So you just want to go to your styles pane. I was busy looking here, but click on the styles pane, go to where it says heading 1, and then if you go to reviewing, and click on the table of contents, if you don't see your chapter here, then it's not properly formatted. It won't generate a linked table of contents. So you always want to make sure that you see it here. Click heading, and then it'll apply it. And that's what you do. So that's what that does. Save. This is the Scriv. This is the Scriv EPUB, and we're going to see what it looks like because I've actually never uploaded the Scrivener EPUB to my dashboard. See, I don't know what I did, but I didn't do something right because it doesn't have any of the text in it.
Yeah, it probably compiled it.
And see, I would be coming right to support, being like, your compiler deleted my text. Okay, let's figure this out.
Yeah, I think this might be just demonstrating how challenging that Scrivener's. I mean, I love Scrivener. It's what I write in. I love it, but I do get intimidated by the compiler. Just anytime I have to like move a chapter out, I'm like, I don't know if you're going to be able to read this.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but if I don't know what I'm doing wrong, then the average author probably doesn't know what they're doing wrong either. Okay, so let's try this again. Now, when you are creating, and Kelly's going to back me up, when you are exporting your EPUB for the same story multiple times for different reasons, relabel them, because sometimes people will come and they will upload the second draft, and then they'll be like, your compiler didn't update it, but it's just that you accidentally picked the exact same version as last time because they're all labeled the same. So when you're exporting it, just label it version 2 or date or whatever you need to label, just to make sure you are. See right here, this one is Naihi Act 2 7.8. I'm about to go and upload version 2. So I know I am picking the right one. That's just one of my little tips to avoid having to, this is going to be really embarrassing if I can't figure this out.
Not really. I mean, I think this is exactly what we're supposed to be demonstrating here, that, there's some that are way easier to use, and this one is not.
I'm spoiled because I've just been a Vellum girly for years, so.
Yeah. Well, and I think, too, with Atticus has been improving their tools a lot. Oh, you got it. Look at that.
Okay, so it was a setting. I picked the wrong. That's what it is, because there's so many different selections for header that you can assign to header, and I'm not ever quite sure what they mean. Which is why you don't use software first without doing the tutorials. So that's on me. But here we go. This is a Scrivener EPUB. It's not terrible.
Actually, it looks nice. They're a little bit.
It's not. Yeah, I mean the chapter heading isn't centered, and my little poem here is not centered, and I don't know why. It's probably, I don't know why. But I mean, if you have nothing else.
Chapter, you have like no price too high. Is that a chapter?
Yeah,
heading?
because that's in Scrivener where I see it imported all.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. So
you'd have to find a way to take that out. But yeah, so
I just have to delete it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see if there's any other questions here. Did you have another formatting tool that you were looking at?
No, I am sick of these fruit flies. Okay. No, I think this is it. I don't think I have any other. No, I don't have access to Atticus right now. But I see you have the cover on the Vellum page. How do you do that? You just insert it. So there's the ebook cover page, and you insert it right there. And yeah, if that's why authors usually come to us with troubleshooting for Vellum. They're wondering where the cover is, and it's just because they didn't put it. It's not Vellum or BookFunnel. You need to put the cover. You need to embed the cover. Or if you upload a new version of your EPUB or change your cover on the book details page, but you don't change it in the EPUB itself, some of y'all be like, why didn't the cover update your BookFunnel? Because you did not come to Vellum and update it in Vellum and re-export it. That's why.
And same with Atticus, actually all of them. If you update your book cover and you have, so this is what shows up on people's Kindle devices. So like when they open the book and pops up on and it populates into their Kindle or their Nook or whatever they're reading on their BookFunnel. We don't put the one you upload into a landing page or onto a book is what shows up on landing pages. It is not going into your actual book cover or as a cover for your book. So whatever you have in this space right here in Vellum or Atticus or any of them, that's what's going to show up when they open their book. So you have to embed your cover within your file in order for it to show.
Yeah, I think that you can do that in Scrivener too, but
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think the
gonna mess with
Scrivener
it.
has a place for it. They all have a place for it.
Yeah.
And if you're doing a PDF, you want to have your cover be the first page of the PDF. It's that simple. But if you put your cover is or your first page as a title page, then that's what they're going to see when they open it on a different device. Okay, I transferred my book to Atticus in a format they wanted and it didn't separate all the chapters. How do I fix this? Okay, so I think it's the same thing that we just showed. It's just you have to have those headers in the original doc before you put it up into Atticus. Text message exchange in Vellum. Yes, so Vellum has been adding lots of cool new tools that, like, if you are writing something in which, like, it's romance or something, and they're texting back and forth, Vellum has added a text message feature. So it looks like text bubbles are going back and forth between the characters. And yeah, I haven't actually played with this one yet. But I think that's a really cool thing. And I think, if I remember correctly, Atticus has also, both of them have been adding this in. So Vellum and Atticus, I believe, don't quote me on the Atticus one. Vellum has it. I think Atticus also has it. So you can basically make a text exchange. I think they also are starting to do emojis. So your text emojis can show up. I'm not sure. So here's one of the questions that I wanted to answer. SL was asking, should we use Kindle Create when publishing direct to KDP? So you can, but you don't have to. If you are using one of these programs like Vellum, Atticus, like all the green light ones that Emma had put up, you don't really need to do a Kindle Create version. You're going to upload the EPUB. So with Vellum, it will actually give you a version that is just meant for Kindle. And that's the one you're going to upload into Kindle. So you don't have to go and recreate a new formatted piece. You can use the one that comes from the software program. So Draft to Digital, Readsy, and then Scrivener. So yeah, you don't have to do the Kindle Create version. And that's what's nice if you're wide. So when I was wide, I'm not wide anymore on my books, but when I was wide, there's a place in Vellum that you can do like your store links, and it'll be like, here's my Alisyn, here's my Google Play store, here's my Nook store, and there's a spot. So when you create a link, it's all the stores. Boom, you write them all in. And then when it generates your file, it generates a file for Google Docs, for Google Play, for all the stores, right? Kindles, everything. And then there's a generic. So if you take the Nook version and you put it onto Barnes & Noble, all of the links are going to look like Barnes & Noble links. They're not going to put out a universal book link. They're going to put out an actual link to Barnes & Noble. I think Emma's displaying that there.
Yeah. I just love Vellum, but
Yeah, and I'm not sure if Atticus has this part. I haven't played with it enough to know, but that I think is really, really helpful if you're wide. So that's why when you compile, it asks you which stores you want, and then it gives you like a whole bunch of different files for those different stores. That's why they do that, is because each store, sometimes if you put like a Kindle file into Apple, it will reject you and say, you have links in your book to our competitor. Why would we're not putting this up. So then you have to go in and find and that's why Vellum does that. And I'm not sure if that's something that Atticus also does.
Yeah, Vellum does all the formats. It does EPUB, it does Kindle EPUB, it does PDF.
If it asks you for a Mobi, you don't need a Mobi. Mobis are being completely discontinued and they're almost impossible to put on Amazon anymore anyway. So don't worry about Mobis.
Somebody asked about measurements for Vellum. Xanda, for little icons, Vellum will usually, when you upload an image, tell you what it wants when you're doing it. But if you don't know ahead of time, I usually default to like 600 by 600 because that it gives it enough resolution to play with and then upload it. But you can start with that. Carol, does having books in EPUB prevent or at least make it harder to steal your manuscript? I know PDFs are easy to steal. Baby, if they want to take your EPUB or your PDF, they're going to take your EPUB or your PDF. People who know how to do it know how to do it. Ain't nothing you can do about it. Jack, you could cut that part out.
Yeah, you can put their watermarks. That's why the watermarking feature for the EPUBs is really nice because they're hidden. And most people who are putting your books onto a pirating website don't know that they're there. Most of them. Some of them are, I mean, some of them will do it and they might know how to scrape things, but that takes a lot of computer knowledge. But we can crack open your code. So if you find your book, actually find it. Not a lot of times they're like, we have this book, and then you click and they're really just uploading some sort of like virusy type stuff or just asking for credit cards, but they don't actually have your file. But if you actually find that you have your file is actually there, most of the time that's coming from Amazon. That's been
2 cases in 7 years that it's come
I think
through
it's been
BookFunnel.
3. Yeah,
It's
but it
been
was
3.
actually
Okay.
I believe it's 3 now. I'm not sure, but like they were really big authors and there were a lot of people trying to clamor to get those art copies. And so that like most of the time they're scraped the moment off of Amazon, the moment that they're published, which is why you'll have people who will say, I just released my book today and my book is already on a site. It's awful. It's not fair. Like we try to like mitigate that. EPUBs are definitely less likely because you can share an EPUB with anybody. We can't just read it on anything. But if you want to restrict it to the BookFunnel app, you could do that.
I do
That's
that
like
with my ARCs. Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to start doing that with my ARCs too. So if you restrict it to the BookFunnel app or Cloud Reader, they don't get the file at all. They can only read it on our ecosystem. And that kind of confuses some readers, but that's okay. If you let them know like, hey, this is what you need to do to read my book. But you can restrict your books to the Cloud Reader so they can't get your file at all. And that's probably the safest way through BookFunnel anyway.
Common requirements for image alt text. Judy can you comment on the new requirements for images alt text within EPUBs for distribution in EU? From my understanding, through the author grapevine, it's not required on like anything decorative, like a chapter heading or a chapter break. You'll want to do it for your cover. Definitely if it's graphics or informational type graphics, you want to do that. If you have quote cards embedded for whatever reason in your EPUB, or I'm about to embed some JPEGs of handwritten letters because my hero writes a letter to his heroine and I'm actually going to handwrite it on some vellum and take the picture and upload it. So I'll do the alt text for that. But have you heard anything else, Kelly? That came out a couple of days ago, right?
Yeah, that's pretty new. And I don't think we've had a chance to really kind of go over that. But yeah, it's always good to pay attention to that. Anyway, especially with like textbooks, graphic novels, anything like that. I don't know. I honestly am not sure about the little icons that you see. It might be just simply because if somebody's using a reader that helps them read, like if they're for visually impaired, they might have the voice might read everything that's there. And so that might be something to keep in mind, that it might need to say like decorative item or something like that, or like in your page breaks if you have something. We're gonna have to probably talk about that a little bit more and maybe put something out about it, because it's pretty new and we need to and research it a little bit more.
And I would want to throw an EPUB with the alt text into like a speech text reader and see if it does do all that, because that would change some of the decisions you make about what alt text to put in there.
Right. And I can imagine that it would have like definitely a readability issue if somebody is listening to the book and then there's suddenly like this weird like HTTP because it's reading the name of the file, because that's all it has. That, would definitely mess with the readability. So if that's what they're working on, we'll have to work on that as a team and see what we can put together and suggest for you. And I bet Vellum and a lot of these Atticus, all of these guys are probably keeping their eye on that sort of thing so that it can make it a little easier for you as well.
Yeah, Vellum updates their software. It's a one-time fee, lifetime fee, so it's not a subscription model yet. But they update their software like continuously with new little features and tweaks. And then when things come out, compliance type things, they'll update with that. So I'm sure all the other platforms do too. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't.
Okay. I'm not sure. Did we get everybody? We kind of jumped around a little bit.
Yeah, we did. I think we did. Page image, use Atacama, just upload the EPUB to KDP. Yeah. CC, use Kindle Create, publishing. We've got that. Meta tags, you can add an EPUB file. Are there additional meta tags that you can add to the EPUB file in Vellum to identify the genre or keyword? No. The only thing you can do is the title info, subtitle, series name. I'm actually not even sure if Amazon will read the interior.
They do read it for links. So if Amazon sees an Apple link, I've had that happen
like
where
the
it
first.
rejected me because it was a generic link. So that's why, if you are able to get a specific file for the specific store, it's better because they will actually say, no, we found our competitor's link in your metadata or in your back matter or something like that.
Yeah, they'll do that on draft to digital. So be careful with that when you are doing your draft to digital EPUB. Make sure all your links go to like your website.
Yeah. Or to sign up for your newsletter or something like that. Or I think you can use a universal book link. So you can
Yeah, you
you
can put
can
it to a
use like a
BookFunnel landing
BookFunnel.
page.
Yeah, like a BookFunnel landing page, and that would be fine. They just don't want it to be like Apple, Barnes and Noble, Google Play, like one of the competitors.
Yeah.
Removing hidden metadata inside the text. I'm not sure. I think you might have asked this question before, and we might be coming back to it, but I'm not sure.
I don't know about, I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know where metadata would be in like a Word doc. There's not gonna be hidden metadata in
HTML data.
HTML. One sec, let me see if I can. Well, see, I don't have any docs that are not already cleaned up. Just the issue. I probably should have deliberately made something messy. But I think, yeah, no, see, the thing with Word is if you are copying and pasting from Vellum or copying and pasting from Scrivener into Word, it's usually pretty clean. Most of the time, if I do have issues or hidden HTML in Word, it's because I was dictating or typing directly into it rather than copying already formatted text from something else and then, user error. But I can still show you where to find that. So now that I'm thinking about it, it would just be this right here. So you'll see it has the little dot between the words. It has the paragraph break. Sometimes you'll see some little hidden underscores and you want to get rid of those. And then there'll sometimes be like little hidden circles. You'll want to get rid of those. Honestly, I don't have them all memorized. What I will do is I will go to Google and Google, what is this little circle thing in my Word doc and how do I get rid of it? Like, that's literally what I do. So each time, but yeah, I think. And then actually, there is one. So, like, what is that one that is always like command? This is one where there's always like, yeah, there it is. It highlighted it. See, this one does have these weird spaces.
Can you make it a little bigger? It's really tiny.
I'm not sure because this is desktop. I'm not sure how to make my desktop.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, let me see. Can I do it like that? Okay, a little bit. So yeah, so I happen to know this one because this is the one that troubles me the most, this little hidden formatting thing right there. So I have it memorized, but it's these little, I guess you can make it bigger. Duh. It's these little circles right here, like these hidden
Yes.
spaces. So I'll do that. And then to get rid of it, you just literally replace all. And then you can do that with anything. Like if you were doing double spaces anywhere, you can just highlight that in here and then tell it to replace. That's how you do that. But yeah, if you're ever not sure what one of these little blue HTML marks means, from Google, like you can do a reverse image or you can describe it and somebody has been there before you. So you'll be able to find that out.
Okay. That only reveals some of them. Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot that are probably that could be hidden in there for different reasons. So if you come across them, oftentimes some of these programs that we've talked about, probably all of the ones in the green side there, maybe not Scrivener. I'm not sure about Scrivener. Like I said, I don't have a lot of experience with actually compiling an EPUB with them, but a lot of these are gonna like take those things out. They're gonna see it and they're gonna say that's not supposed to be there and take it out. So if you do see them and they, they're there, you're not sure how to get rid of them. I think you have to probably go with like Googling and seeing what they are and like
Yeah.
why they're there.
Like, what did I do this time? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
World was interesting before we had Vellum. The days of formatting everything in Word and then praying to God. Fun times.
All right. I think that's everything. If we missed anything, you just email.
Yeah, of course. So if you're looking for that in your text and it's supposed to be there, don't delete it. But yeah.
Okay.
All right. I think we're good. So
Yeah.
thank you, everyone. This has been another webinar with a BookFunnel, formatting your ebooks for BookFunnel, and we'll see you all next time.
Thank you for watching. Check out these other videos from BookFunnel, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.